Well, I ranked all of the positive and negative traits in the last video, so it's only fair I rank all the occupations in this one. Now, unlike traits where there are some truly terrible ones that you should never pick unless you absolutely hate yourself, are actively memeing or role-playing, I don't really feel that way about the occupations. Matter of fact, I think there's only two occupations in the game that are genuinely awful in their current state, assuming you're not using mods. The rest are at some degree of viable. You can make perfectly serviceable character builds around all of them. Except for these two, Doctor and Metalworker. In fact, Metalworker's slightly better. It at least has utility. Doctor is not. In a game where any injury can cause your death, depending on your settings, the ability to heal is useless. And this isn't even good in multiplayer because what are you gonna do? Heal your friends more effectively? No. Most people are just gonna get zombified, kill off their character, and then come back with a new one, collect all their old stuff. You don't need to keep people actively alive. Metalworker, on the other hand, is way too expensive for the benefit it gives you of plus-free metalworking. Metalworking is already expensive and has more resources required than carpentry, and genuinely, what are you going to use all this metalworking for? The only use I can think is for repairing your cars. That's it. Metalworker is just genuinely so bad in its current state. Now, if you're using mods, most notably things like scrap weapons or the ability to arm up vehicles, Metalworker goes all the way up to a solid pick. You genuinely want it at that point. As it stands now, it's just bad. Don't pick it. You know how I only said there were two bad occupations? I lied. There's three. Because nurse is just a strictly worse doctor, which is already not a great sign, that has some minor combat utility. I believe it gets light-footed and a level in short blade. Now, there are other classes that get levels in light-footed and short blade that are a lot better and that you should pick instead of nurse. So these are the only three occupations that I think are genuinely terrible in their current state without mods. The rest have at least some purpose. Starting with I believe this is construction worker. Yeah, this is, no, that's carpenter, that's construction worker, that's repairman. Okay, so carpenter is decent. Situationally good. It has the highest stat in carpentry, and its other stats are in short blunt and maintenance. You'll notice a pattern with these three. They're all focusing on one aspect of the stat over the others suffering. What makes carpenter the worst is that it's the easiest of those free skills to grind. You get carpentry level 3, and if you combo this with handy, level 4. Now that's enough to already start building rain collectors. Now that's pretty good. But you can also get that after like the first week by just watching Life and Living all the time. Now, if you don't want to watch Life and Living all the time, fair pick. Carpenter goes up a little bit in that case. But it's otherwise just fine. You're picking it because you want to build things, not necessarily for any other reason. Construction worker and repairman, though, I'm actually going to rank as solid picks. Repairman more so, because plus in maintenance with handy, you get like level 3 or 4. That means you pick up a crowbar, that thing's gonna last you about a month. You pick up a spear, you'll actually be able to kill more than 5 zombies with it without immediately perishing. You pick up a katana, go on a rampage with it. And maintenance helps all weapon classes equally. But that's not to discount a construction worker, because plus 2 short blunt XP is really solid. Short blunt weapons are extremely common. They are the most common weapon class in the game, besides, I believe, knives. They may genuinely be tied, I'm not sure. But that means that you can just go into any hardware store and you'll be armed for the rest of your life. Go into any warehouse, you'll be armed for 2 lifetimes. Start making stone hammers, you'll be armed until the heat death of the universe. Short blunt weapons do have short range, that's in the name, but their damage output, especially when you start climbing up in the skill levels, is really good. Claw hammers, ball peen hammers, club hammers, nightsticks, all extremely solid beating implements against the hordes. Police officer is decent. There's an occupation that is guns focused that is just better. I'll explain veteran in a moment when we finish explaining police officer. But police officer isn't to be slept on. It actually has higher in aiming. It has some nimble benefits. Veteran does not get those, and nimble benefits are really good. Combo that with gymnasts and you're having a good time. If you're factoring in spawn locations, police officers tend to spawn in the stations of their towns, which is a generally good thing. Although, saying that, Rosewood, where a lot of people like to spawn, you'll just spawn the police station there anyway, and I don't get why. What was our character doing before we took control of them? Yeah, police officer is pretty good. The stats it boosts are all ones you would want, but you're gonna need to come up with something like Brave if you hope to go on a shooting spree early on. Veteran does not have this problem. The desensitized trait is one of the best traits in the game. If you saw my previous video, you'd know this. Veteran is the most expensive single occupation in the game. This is true. But it's worth it because you get level 2 aiming, level 2 reloading, and the desensitized trait. If you want to use firearms in your run, or you want to actually just go on a zombie killing rampage like you're playing Left 4 Dead 2, pick the veteran occupation. You will not have a bad time. If you add Hunter onto this, which, yes, is really expensive, but you can get up to the same level as the police officer at that point in terms of aiming. That's really good. Veteran in general is just amazing. I would recommend anyone you pick this if you can afford the cost. Park Ranger, for what it does, is niche. It is boosts to foraging and survivalist skills, and basically nothing else. You know how to make traps. You do not know how to make the fishing rods, so you will need to grab angler if you just intend on completely huffing out in the woods. You get some carpentry boost, you get a little bit of axe boost, a massive foraging boost, and you can move faster through trees, which can help you plan a getaway if that's what you need to do. It's a little bit expensive for what it does. This is true. But if what you're specifically doing is a wilderness-focused run, you can pick no better occupation. In fact, if you're also picking a wilderness-focused run, then fisherman can join it right up in niche. What Park Ranger does for foraging, fisherman does for fishing. You start with fishing level 3. That's huge. Combo that with angler and you have level 4. And you know how to make all of the fishing rod recipes. So you can just live by your river or your lake and have a jolly old time. At the expense of your kind of crap and literally everything else. But that's the definition of niche. Hyper specialized in one thing, not really the best in anything. Engineer is a jack of all trades kind of class that doesn't manage to master anything. You have a little bit of electrical knowledge, you have a little bit of carpentry, you can make bombs. The bombs are probably the best thing Engineer has going for them. Fire bombs are really stupid. And pipe bombs, if you can construct them, are even more stupid. But other than that, Engineer is kind of expensive for the minimal benefit it is going to give you. You can use it as a good baseline to start stacking things like the Amateur Mechanic and Handy traits and get a really solid build going, but that's going to be expensive and not everybody's going to be able to manage that. So Engineer is in the category of just being kind of fine at that point. Not terrible, but not what I would describe as impressive. Farmer is niche. You have extra levels in farming. Now, this is probably going to get better in Build 42, considering they're reworking the farming and agriculture stats significantly. As it stands now, it's just kind of fine. Because it's plus free farming. You pick Gardener, then you're at farming level 4. You know the farming recipes, so you can keep care of your crops. If you intend on just stranding yourself out in a farmland and never leaving, you'll probably want to pick this. But you'll also probably want to grab some other traits like Hunter or Fisherman or whatever, so you can, hunt and fish, because crops won't sustain you forever. No matter how many cabbages you eat, you will lose weight eventually. Lumberjack is really good at one specific thing, but unlike the other niche traits, it is a universally good thing, being good in combat with an axe. Start off with axes level 3 and +1 to strength. Grab Brawler, grab Strong, and you are now a zombie killing machine who will just keep one-tapping zombies, like chop, chop, chop. It is a joyous feeling when you find a fire axe as a lumberjack. And, fun thing about this trait, you get a unique bonus no other occupation gets. The Axeman trait, which makes you swing all of your axes so much faster. This makes hand axes into stupid little one-handed death machines. This makes fire axes into horde clearers. And this makes wood axes actually viable as weapons. It is genuinely dumb, the kind of combo you can get going with a lumberjack if you're smart with it. It's an expensive combo to get going, but try it out at some point. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Matter of fact, I'm promoting that to baby easy mode. If you can get it going, you're never going to struggle in combat as long as you have an axe. And axes are one of the weapon classes you can forage together and make that way. That's what we're thinking about. Security guard. I like security guard. You get tired a lot less quickly. You have some minor stealth benefits. You're good at sprinting now. Combo this with the runner occupation and you're doing pretty good in that front, actually. But it really feels like it should give you at least some sort of tangible combat buff or some other unique perk besides Night Owl to make it more worthwhile. So I can't rank it any higher than decent. As it stands, security guard, what it gives you is fine. Trait cost-wise, it's okay. I personally really like it. A lot of my favorite characters I've made have been security guards. But it's just, for the vast majority of players, fine. Fire officer is baby easy mode. +1 fitness, +1 strength, +1 to axes, and I believe +1 sprinting is all really good. It's fairly affordable. I believe you only need to pick like a +4 negative trait in order to be able to afford this. Combo this with athletic and strong, and you're now at 10 and 10 on your fitness and strength. You are as peak performance as you can ever hope for. Now that's going to be expensive, so you're probably not going to be able to pick anything else good after that. But it's worth it. If you've never played a fire officer before, go ahead and try one out before build 42 happens. And I have a feeling fire officer might wind up getting nerfed. Like, it's either going to be made more expensive, or they're going to give it some drawback that makes it not just the best of all time anymore. Mechanic. I like mechanic. I'm putting mechanic in solid picks, and it's because not only do you have +3 mechanics, not only do you know how to operate every type of vehicle from word go, you get +1 in short blunt as well. Meaning you can start comboing that with other traits and get a really good build going. Mechanic is good because you will be extremely versatile, and when you inevitably crash your car and have to start doing some work on it, you'll know how to do that from word go. Find a couple of Car Zone VHS tapes, and all of a sudden you'll be at like level 4 or 5. You start out at level 3 with this. And that short blunt bonus means that you can start bashing things with wrenches and hammers and get extra XP from it. You'll do more damage over time. It'll generally be good. Short blunts, most common weapon type in the game. You'll just always make sure to keep a regular wrench around for when you do need to do work on your cars. Because otherwise, you'll be stranded in the middle of nowhere with no tools because you used all your tools killing all of the zombies. Not that I would know. Purely hypothetical situation. Electrician is bordering on genuinely bad without mods, but I'm actually going to defend it on the basis that it can use generators. With how notoriously rare the How to Use Generators magazine can be on some saves, that's a good benefit. If you are playing multiplayer, Electrician is better at that point because you can just operate the generator for your group and nobody has to go searching for the stupid magazine. If you're doing base decoration, you can now pick up things like ovens and washers and dryers easily enough. The problem is that electrical gives you nothing else good in this current build of the game. I'm really hoping that's change in build 42 and be able to make like really stupid traps or rewire an entire house or do something with this electrical engineering degree. But as it stands, it's too expensive for what it gives, and I would give it genuinely bad if not for the generator thing. Burglar is going in baby easy mode. Having the ability to hotwire cars is why. Burglar gives you basically nothing else good except nimble XP. You don't even get any other sort of weapon bonus. I feel like you should maybe get a little bit of short blade, but nimble XP is really hard to come by. And the ability to hotwire cars on your first day can allow you to get out of really sticky situations a lot easier. Find a car in really good condition, but Zomboid decided it didn't want to spawn keys today. Go ahead, pick up hotwiring. You can also apparently get through windows easier. That much is true. I've never personally noticed a difference, but I'm sure the difference is in the game. And Burglar is fairly affordable too. You can foot the bill for this and still have plenty of room left over for positive traits once you've counteracted Burglar's cost. I would not be surprised if this gets nerfed in build 42. In fact, all four of these, I would not be surprised to get some degree of a nerf in build 42. The one I'm pretty sure won't get some sort of nerf, though, is unemployed. Unemployed is what you pick when you don't pick a build. You just have the ability to customize your character in any sort of minor specialization you want, but you won't be proficient in anything. Plus 8 trait points is a lot to spend. Combo that with all of the free point negative traits, and suddenly you can afford a lot of minor skill boosts that'll just generally help you out, even if you're not particularly great at any one thing. And because of the way this works as being the classless occupation, I don't see this getting nerfed. Maybe it'll give you less free trait points, but you can still put free trait points in by picking negatives. Don't affect you very much depending on play style, and unemployed will just do work for you. You know what won't do work for you though? Chef. Cooking is okay. I enjoyed the cooking mechanic in this game. I like being able to squish ingredients together and make absolute puddles of sludge. But that does not mean it's particularly helpful for most people. Cooking is one of the easiest skills to grind up because whenever you cook food, you will get a little bit of XP. The life and living of all the shows to air, the most populous one is cooking related. And who needs this much cooking XP in their life? If you are a chef, you're role playing most likely, or you just enjoy cooking in this game that much. You do get a little bit of short blade, I believe. Now that's true, but if what you need is short blade, burger flipper is your better bet because it also gets maintenance. It has a lesser bonus to cooking, but it still has short blade, and it now has a level in maintenance. Combo that with handy, you have level 2 in maintenance, which means your short blades are now going to be putting in pretty good work. Short blades scare a lot of people off because they do very little damage and break super easily. This allows you to overcome that hurdle and make something you can actually function with on a base level. And it's fairly cheap too. I believe you have some positive trait points left over after you pick this, just out of base. So that's pretty good. I'm not going to say it's the best thing in the world. It's not. But it's decent. For the right kind of player, it's decent. Fitness instructor is a solid pick. It's a bit expensive for what it does, but what it does is give you bonuses to fitness, which is a notorious pain to grind. So I would say that's worth it. You get +4 to fitness. This means you start out at like level 8 or 9, depending on what kind of weight traits you're running. And then you can come with things like fit to just get maxed out fitness and run some really crazy build where you have level 0 strength, level 10 fitness, and you can just become Giga Chad in a matter of like a month because you'll never get tired and you can just keep doing push-ups. And if you find the weights, you can keep doing weight training. Really, really good. It's a little bit expensive, and the other benefits it gives, which are sprinting and the nutritionist trait, are fine there wherever. The sprinting trait is really good if you're fighting against sprinters. You'll want that, obviously. In fact, if you're fighting against sprinters, this goes to the top of baby easy mode. But for most players, this is just a solid pick if you can foot the cost. That is my final ranking of all of the jobs in Build 41, the occupations. Only 3, I think, are genuinely terrible. The rest have their place, even if they're kind of expensive. You know, there is a use case for basically all of the ones that aren't in the green tier. If you liked this video, like, favorite, share, and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one. Probably not going to be another tier list. I'm not sure. All right. See you, everyone.